Maybe you have an unusual pet, or maybe your pet can do something amazing. Get ready for the contact details at the end of the show. Coming up on part 2, as International Beatles Week gets into full swing, we went to a sale of memorabilia of all things Fab 4. See what we found coming up. And if you're going to the cinema this holiday weekend, we have the latest film releases reviewed by the boys on film. Welcome back to the Lowdown. Coming up, choose which movie to watch this bank holiday weekend as the boys on film give you the latest cinema releases. But first, it's a huge weekend for Beatles fans as thousands arrive in the city for International Beatles Week. Here on the Lowdown, we've been giving you a series of reports, and we were also at a sale of Beatles memorabilia that would have any Fab 4 fan dribbling.
You say yes, I say no. You say stop, and I say go, go, go.
The Beatles, of course, were responsible for so many firsts in the music industry. There's far too many of them to list here. But one of the things they're also credited of being first with is an industry that began long after their career had finished. These days, it is a huge, multinational, multi-million industry, and we're talking about the world of memorabilia.
You say goodbye, and I say hello. Hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye, I say hello. Hello.
I'm now with Steve Holmes from Beatlesdays.com. Steve, this is such an amazing collection. How do you start collating a collection of Beatles memorabilia like this?
Well, I've been at it like sort of 40 years now, and you sort of start off with a little collection, and then you sort of add to it, and then in my case, you start sort of buying and selling. That big memorabilia market has sort of got bigger and bigger from the 60s right through to now, you know, and each generation that comes along, whether it be the Oasis generation or the previous punk generation with the Jam and all things like that, they all seem to find the Beatles somewhere along the line, like, you know, so it's sort of, they sort of seem to get a new set of fans every sort of 10 years.
Is it getting harder and harder now, though, to uncover the kind of original material that most of the collectors are always trying to search?
A lot of people are at that age group where, unfortunately, there's quite a few collectors already passed away, you know. And but there is a lot of new interest. A lot of the young people like the vinyl and like the sound, like, you know, but you know. Obviously, because the memorabilia, the original stuff, like you can see some of the stuff we've got here, is more than 50 years old. It's like any antique type of thing. It's hard to find in good condition.
I'm now with Gary Schramer from Heritage Auctions. Gary, welcome to the UK.
Oh yeah, love it here. Been coming over here since '78. Well, we're the largest auction house in the world for collectible memorabilia, and we can find the memorabilia here in the UK. It could be in Japan, it can be in America, it can be in Australia. You never know where it's going to turn up and where people have went over the years. I can have a person come to me with one autograph. I can have somebody come to me like we just did. We just got the biggest collection of memorabilia in the world. He was the #1 collector. It was a 53-foot semi full of Beatle memorabilia. Over 4,000 pieces. It's just arrived at Heritage just last week.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's overwhelming, and this will be in auction over the next 2-3 years.
In all your years of dealing with Beatles memorabilia, is the one piece that you would say has been your favourite, or which was the one that generated the most interest?
Gosh, it's an array of things, because when you're talking Beatles, it's huge. But I would say we were lucky enough to get a beautifully signed copy of Sgt. Pepper. It was a mint monocopy that was autographed at the album release party. And as we call it, a sit-down autograph. They were actually at the table because you could tell how neat the autographs were. And at that point in time, it was the best autograph that we had ever seen. It ended up going for $290,500, which broke all records by almost double. So we get beautiful, beautiful things in. You know, last time we had a piece like this right here. This is Tony Curtis's image from the Sgt. Pepper album cover. And they'd use this in the array of images that they had on the cover. And one-of-a-kind piece. And but it was so cool, Tony Curtis has signed the back of it and he says, "I was on Sgt. Pepper." And there's a picture of him holding the album with a Sgt. Pepper t-shirt on. You go, there's Tony Curtis, he loves the Beatles too.
So what you've seen here today is really just a really small example of the amount of Beatles material that's on sale, not just in Liverpool, but around the world. So next time you're up in the loft, take a careful look in the corners, or even better, next time you're going round to your parents' house, remind them that it's high time that they really did tidy up the loft, and take a good look around when you're offering to do it for them.